You there?
Yeah, that's you. You're like camouflage with your couch, actually.
I am actually. Should I change?
No, it's good. You'll just see a headlight popping at the top.
He's pretty obese, actually.
He's a big guy.
Why don't we sit on his lap?
We are live.
Wow, you got the voice for it. You got a lot of resonance. I'll lower my
I've been
voice.
working on my deep voice because I used to speak like this, but then
Did you?
if you have a podcast and you talk like this, then
Wow.
then I put my throat into my testicles
Yes.
and channel my inner Gandalf. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Plank Code Podcast. I'm Max. This is our first episode down under in Sydney. Full
Down
disclosure. Actually, we're not in Sydney, are we?
It's still Sydney, southwest Sydney.
Alright, we're still an hour and a half away from Sydney,
Yeah.
but we're here. I'm joined by Jake, animal rights activist. Find him on Instagram at the.cheesy.vegan.
Got it.
Easy name. Why cheesy vegan?
I don't have a good story for that.
Oh, that's the end of this podcast.
I'm just not a very interesting person. I don't have any stories. I was trying to think of a name, just a funny name for my YouTube channel, because initially, I think it was the first time I've ever really told anybody this on camera. My first name was Traveling Vegan, and I didn't know whether I wanted the verb traveling vegan, like you're traveling vegan, like the verb, or whether it would come across as the noun, the
Traveling
vegan.
as a vegan.
Yeah,
or
that's what I wanted, but I didn't want the traveling vegan because that's
It's like gypsy vegan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Did you actually travel?
yeah, this was when I was living in England. We were taking lots of holidays, and I was just like, because we're going to a new place every couple of weekends, I can just smash out videos about like just helpful things like being vegan in Disneyland, being vegan in, I don't know, wherever we're going. Anyway, and I just had a whole like, I think my notes was completely full of names, and I just took it to my now wife and our friends who were living in England with, and I was like, what name should I go with? And Cheesy Vegan, I just thought it was funny because obviously cheese isn't vegan and I can be a little bit cheesy. So that ended up winning the vote and it just stuck. I don't know, like I've gone...
suits you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Everyone
very,
calls you cheesy now as well, don't they?
very rare I get called Jake. So when you introduced me just then, I was like,
Jake?
oh, yeah.
Is that your plan?
Yeah.
That's Jake. Should rename him. Yeah. Anyway, you mentioned your wife. You
Yeah.
are soon to be a father.
Yes.
Just found out. I saw that on Instagram. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Why do we say congratulations
What do you mean?
when people are pregnant?
I don't know.
I find it's a really awkward thing to say.
It is actually. Yeah. I
It's like
understand,
even
we
your
didn't do
parents
anything
and all, like,
special.
congratulations. Like, what did you do differently from last time? You know?
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, we didn't do anything particularly special. I can tell you all about it if
We'll
you'd
keep
like.
that for the
Okay.
my other podcast, which is the nighttime version.
9 p.m. podcast, yeah.
Stick around for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, back to your future baby. Congratulations.
Thank you. Why? Yeah, I don't know.
Because you do. That's
Yeah.
what we do. But then again, not because we've been doing it for generations means that it's right.
That's true. Traditions equals ethical and traditions equals correct. That's one thing I've learned in my few years of activism is that if we've been doing something for a long time, we should continue.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So you're going to raise this baby vegan?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind.
Have you ever raised a vegan baby before?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah. So where are you getting your knowledge from? Where are you going to start?
We're very confident with our choice because we know it is the healthiest thing to do. Animal products are, I don't want to say as far as poisonous or toxic, but they are extremely unhealthy. Any animal product. So we're not going to feed it eggs because we don't want to feed it cholesterol and saturated fat bombs. We don't want to feed it milk because I don't want to filter IGF-1 and casein, two of the most prominent carcinogens on the planet, into my tiny little human. And I don't want to feed it meat because, again, it's carcinogenic. It raises his risk of cancer. It's going to raise his risk of diabetes. And it's going to raise his risk of heart disease. And we are very confident that veganism is a healthy thing to do at all stages of life because the largest nutrition body in the world, the American Dietetic Association, released a statement saying that being vegan is adequate for all stages of life and can even play a role in halting and reversing some chronic illnesses.
Yeah, absolutely. We do tend to be concerned when we talk about raising a baby vegan, but the best way would be to start looking at what we're feeding them now.
Yes.
The products that we're putting into, like you say, with the hormones, like you say, with the cholesterol, the saturated fats, like what we're giving to babies now is not healthy.
No.
I was in a pharmacy and I was looking at the different contents of baby formula. I don't know why I was doing that. I've got no kids.
It's depressing, isn't
It
it?
is. I should have been looking for something else. I don't have many friends on my days off. I do this kind of stuff, you know. And
You
there's
gotta fill the
taurine.
time.
There's taurine in some baby formulas.
What's taurine?
It's like the hormone that bulls have.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's like what's in diet. What's it called? That energy drink.
Red Bull.
Yeah. You know that thing to get you like
Yeah.
super pumped.
Why would there be taurine in baby formula?
I don't know.
That's scary.
Yeah. So now I spend my free time thinking about that
Yeah.
with
'Cause
my
again,
non-friends.
I don't have any. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, fun times. So how long have you guys been vegan for?
I think it's approaching 4 years. I think
Oh,
in
wow.
November it will be 4 years. Yeah, because I went vegan very soon after my wife's 21st, who was then just my girlfriend. 21st. And on her 21st birthday, a horrible story, the kind of person I used to be, I was cooking the barbecue for her 21st birthday, and I remember her vegetarian friend came up to me just to say hello. She wasn't like an aggressive vegan. She was just coming up to say hi, and I must have felt some form of discomfort. I still don't know what was going on because this is not the kind of person that I think I am. But I just picked up a sausage with the tongs, was like "Ugh," in her face.
Yeah, we've all done that.
What?
And I think it's good that you share that because we have this kind of purist, perfectionist
Yeah,
viewpoint of activism of not being able to say what we were doing before.
yeah.
And some of the stuff, like I used to work at McDonald's. Like I used
Wow.
to eat like 30 cheeseburgers in a day. I used to make fun of every single vegetarian, vegan in the world.
100%.
I used to love like commenting on stuff on social media, like but bacon. Like,
Trolling vegan.
yeah, I used to when I wasn't looking at what was in baby formula, I was doing that. You know?
And now that I can't, there's so much spare time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true. No, I know, man. It's so true, and we've all been there. This is the funny thing. Like, I said soon after that, I could never be vegan. Every single vegan I know has said that. Did
Yeah,
you say that?
Of
I
course.
could never be vegan?
Yeah, 100%.
Because it just seems like you're going to give up so much.
Yeah.
And in reality, you really give up nothing. I mean, for two reasons. First of all, you change your perspective. I think people see it from a viewpoint of like, vegans want it, but they can't have it. But that's the complete wrong way around. I can have it if I want
Yeah.
to. I don't want it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's always like, oh, you can't have this. Like, yes, I can have this, but I don't want to support these industries and I choose not to. And I feel very good about not doing it. You know?
Exactly.
That's also something also relates to smoking. So I smoked for a long time and I quit.
Oh.
So people are like, oh, do you miss smoking? Like,
Yeah.
no, I've actually benefited from it. Like, I've actually gained something from quitting smoking. I haven't lost something. So when you change the
Yes.
mindset of it, I
Totally.
think it makes a huge difference when it comes to these things.
So true.
Yeah.
And I know that I said I had two things, but I can't remember the second one because I got really into that first point.
That was a big thing.
And I'm happy to leave it there because I stand by it.
But that still doesn't say why. It just said that you're waving the sausage in her face.
And I really don't know why. The only thing when I've reflected on it, I mean, I remember I just did it. Like, I didn't think this would be funny if I wave a sausage in her face. I
Yeah.
just did it.
Yeah.
And it must have been something in me, vegetarian coming, I've got meat, this is a dead body, I'm having to confront this feeling that I have dead bodies that I'm about to eat, and I need to deflect this in some way. And
Right.
so it was just wave a sausage in her face. Like, it's like when you have a crush on somebody in year one and you push them over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true, that's a typical male thing to do, isn't it? When
Right.
you're trying to flirt, you just hurt someone or
Oh.
say rude things. We're really bad at it.
Yeah, that was me, man. I didn't have a great success rate in year one by pushing them over and telling them they look like silly bums, but
Does it work now? Or?
That's how I got Lauren.
Okay, good, yeah.
Yeah, she's a silly bum.
She might be able to hear you, be careful. Yeah. So how long after waving this sausage in that girl's face did you go vegan?
I reckon that was September the 23rd, and I reckon I went vegan somewhere around the beginning of November. So it was within a month.
Right.
I think within about 3 weeks of that, I started eating vegetarian. And again, I really don't have a good reason why I did that. I just remember having this thought in my head, like, if I stop eating meat, I'm going to have to eat more vegetables. That was just my logic. And I wasn't that happy with the way I was eating. I was brought up on meat pies and mac and cheese.
Right.
So yeah, not very healthy. And ethics must have had something to do with it, because I remember just beforehand getting really obsessed with buying free-range meat and free-range eggs. I was getting really into that, but I didn't really acknowledge it. I mean, subconscious, man. So much going on that we have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did it for health. This is when I got asked, are you ever going to go vegan? I was like, no, I'm not going to go vegan. Are you serious? I was like, I'm not even a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I wouldn't admit it. I just said that I wasn't eating meat. And because I wasn't eating meat, I was just so open to the information that I'd always just had the blinders on for. And finally, I'm like, I don't participate in this. I can have a look at what it is. And I watched things like Earthlings. I watched Cowspiracy.
Did you watch all of Earthlings to the end?
Yes.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah, and that is like the first time in my adult life I reckon I've cried. I'm very I'm an emotional person. I don't withhold. I just don't cry a lot. But that
I cry in a lot of movies.
do you?
Yeah,
You know what? I
Bohemian
cried in
Rhapsody.
The Lion King, the new
What?
Lion King.
I just saw it 2 days. When did you cry?
You didn't cry?
At what
The
point?
Circle of Life was scene for scene, and it was just so beautiful. I looked
Yeah.
over and Lauren was crying, and I was like, "Pussy."
I did get goosebumps, but I didn't cry.
Yeah.
I was
okay.
being tough.
Yeah, so there's a man's tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, goosebumps.
I was like, they were crying on the inside.
Yeah, when your throat hurts a little bit.
Strain, just let it out. You just can't let it out. It just pulls. You're like
Yeah,
holding
exactly.
back so hard.
Yeah.
Horrible feeling.
Yeah, I can't even remember where we
Yeah.
were with that.
But I find like since going vegan that I'm a lot more sensitive and a lot more emotional to
Me
a lot
too.
of things. Films, anything in general. Like now
That's
I feel
so
like I'm a
true.
big softie to everything.
I think I'm the same. And have you become a lot more empathetic in other areas of life? I mean, like,
I still hate people.
oh, I still hate people.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But, I mean, like, clothing.
Yeah.
I never would have considered if my clothing was ethical before going vegan. No way. I just
But
bought
it doesn't
cheap.
cross your mind when it comes to food either, really, before, because
No.
you never have that conversation with yourself. But once you start relating it to food, you start relating it to everything in life. So where do you
So
put the
true.
boundaries of veganism?
Where do I?
Because it can extend to everything.
It's a great question. My favorite definition of veganism, I think, is just trying your hardest to do the least amount of harm practicable. Meaning the least you can possibly
Yeah.
do at any given time. And so, if there was an extremely special case which doesn't exist of somebody who needed to have calcium that came from cow's milk, obviously a non-existent human, then that person, the least harm they can do is to have as little cow's milk as they can and be vegan for the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people bring in some very specific health problems. I'm not a doctor. Like, I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And even a lot of doctors can't necessarily tell you what to do because of their nutrition, the education they receive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, it's about doing the best you can and reduce the harm as much as you can. It's not about that perfection.
Yeah.
But then it's drawing that line between what's perfection and then where's the animal exploitation.
You're right.
Because then you've got the meatless Mondays, you've got like I'm vegan in January, and then I find it's really tough to take a stand on when
Yeah.
it comes to these things because like it is a little bit better, but then you're still justifying
Yes.
a small amount of animal exploitation.
Being a teacher, we've learned that positive reinforcement does a lot more than any negative reinforcement or punishment or whatever you want to call it. So calling people out and recognizing their good behavior does a lot more than discussing their bad behavior and making them feel bad for it.
Right.
Or an example is obviously, oh, look at this person sitting beautifully, and everyone else just all of a sudden just like that. And if it's someone who doesn't normally sit nicely, you recognize it immediately, and they're like, oh, man, that feels good when I get recognized for sitting well. So they'll do it more often. And I think it is the same with veganism. I think that if somebody has tried soy milk in their coffee, then we shouldn't be like, then why don't you get soy milk all the time? Because they're going to be like, well, that felt shit. I have no good feeling inside me, like, related to that thing that I did when I got soy milk. But if they get soy milk in their coffee and you come and you're like, fuck yeah, give them a high five, you're like, you just saved a life. Yes,
Yeah.
like, that makes a huge difference what you
That's
just did.
very. I like the way you're comparing that to the way you educate with children because we are children. All of us are still children. at heart.
100%.
And the way you say that, if you give some instant gratification,
Yep.
which is what we want, like everyone wants that in this world,
Yeah.
especially now with social media,
Yes.
including myself. Like I'll put out this episode, I want 1 million people to see it in the first day, or at least someone to press. It's never gonna happen.
Hey, never say never.
Never say never. Maybe it will.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I actually have hopes that it will. I know it will.
It will. It's gonna go. If you know someone, tag them in this video. Let's make 1 million people watch it, so I can get some instant gratification.
By tonight. Whenever you're watching it, by the end of this day.
Yeah,
Mm.
we look forward to that. It's just gonna go through the roof.
Yeah.
The day that Max and Jake broke the internet.
Yeah, remember that day?
Yeah.
That went down in history.
That would be good.
Mm.
Perhaps put some better content into this episode. I still find some valid points to talk about. Before
Maybe.
Yeah. So, do you find children are more compassionate and more open to these kind of conversations than adults?
You would not believe it. It just makes so much sense to kids. Especially, I mean, at school I see it, but especially when I'm doing activism on the streets, and kids, they just look at, like, like sometimes a kid happens to stumble past the footage and see what happens to animals, and a lot of the time the parents will let them see it if they're open parents who are like, I don't want to lie to my kid. And the kids are just like, do we need to do that? No. It's like, then I don't want to do it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
If you don't need to do it and it's horrible, then don't do it. But we just have all this conditioning in us, man. Like I did, as we're talking about. I did really dumb shit. And I think as well, I've heard that it could be something instinctual, like with taking away calories from a mammal. It could have something to do with your, like, trying to take my calories that I have, or some survival instinct.
Maybe, yeah. That kind of desire to dominate as well or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
but it still doesn't justify it, does it really?
Of course not.
Yeah.
But, dude, we're just humans. We're, like, so much more simple than we think we are. We're not much better than monkeys.
I mean, people always say to me, yeah, but we're the greatest species, we're the best. I'm like, look what we're doing to our planet. Like, how would the best, most intelligent species do the things that we're doing to our planet?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
No, they wouldn't.
It's a very simple answer. No.
Every other animal contributes
Exactly.
to the ecosystem.
Yep.
We don't really contribute in any way. We destroy.
No. Yeah, you see, as soon as human civilization grows, everything else wiped. Species extinction, environmental destruction.
Yeah.
Humans are just... We are, by definition, the greatest pest on Earth.
True. And then we're looking for another planet where we can go and settle.
Yeah.
When we've got a perfectly good one here that
Exactly.
we choose to continue to destroy.
Yeah, so we can spend another 50 years on that one
Yeah.
until, climate change kicks in again, and then pop over to another one.
Yeah, but who's going to be able to pop over? It's not everyone, is it? Really?
No, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is trying to protect this planet as well and everything that's on it. Anyway, we'll talk about space on a different
That's
episode.
on your 9 p.m. space podcast.
Yeah, well, that's after the sex one. That's 11 p.m. That's the late night one with
Gotcha.
get my big telescope out.
Ooh,
I'll get the bigger telescope out before that. Yeah. Right, anyway, this is outrageous. I'm going to pause for dramatic effect and drink some chai.
Awkward. Okay, you're back with Max and Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my 9 p.m. voice. Anyway, where are we? We're in Australia, right? So this is the first episode of the show. I'm excited because there's I'm quite excited because this is like miles away from everything.
Yeah.
It's a great place because it's the only place around at the moment.
Yeah.
And there's a huge activist scene in Australia. You guys have got quite a lot of the big activists that you see on social media.
Yeah.
There's James Aspey, there's Paula Nassau from Anonymous for the Voiceless. You got that vegan couple as well.
Yeah.
They're also Australian.
True.
There's you.
Oh, thanks, man.
On that list somewhere.
When you get to D, you got the A's, the B's,
The D-listers. No, I don't know. But that's the thing. I don't want to kind of glorify any activists as well, because a lot of people talk about that.
Oh, dude.
About how there's like the idols of activism, and then you've got everyone else, and about this white male supremacist in the activist scene as well, which I kind of discussed with Saul Eubanks on a previous episode.
I would love to look at that.
Yeah, it's quite good. That was live on Instagram actually.
Wow.
We recorded it, so then I had to sync the audios. It was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it was a great episode.
Yeah.
So why do you think there's so many activists in Australia?
I just don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
I think it's because you guys talk so much.
It could be. And it could be something in the personality. I mean, Australians are pretty fiery. In a way, we're also very laid back.
Yeah.
So that actually doesn't make a lot of sense what I'm saying. I just don't know. It could be because it's so easy to be vegan. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
I know I can only speak from my own experience, and I knew that when I went vegan, when I found out the information, I was just so frustrated that it took 20 years of my life to find that information. So I just wish someone shared that with me. I wish someone told me, like, shook me. And maybe not shaking me, but maybe helped me on the street when I stopped to hugged me. Yeah, exactly. I was just like, I just got to go and tell everybody. And that was a big mistake. I now realise people do not want to know if they didn't ask. It didn't work well. I burned a lot of bridges.
Yeah, it's true. I think that is one of the initial steps that everyone goes through when they go vegan. Is like, oh my god, does everyone know this?
Yeah.
Like, everyone needs to know now.
Exactly.
But is that effective?
It's not.
Yeah.
No, it really isn't. I made nobody vegan in my first few months. Because you just get so angry. It's like, because I know when I found out the information, I didn't empathize and put myself in their shoes, and I was ready for the information, but maybe they're not. And so I'm going to run up to them with the same information that turned me vegan, and they're going to not go vegan. I'm going to put my expectations on them, and then I'm going to be filthy
Yeah.
because they didn't go. And it is so fucking annoying. Like, are you serious? Like, you know that pig got gassed. It suffocated. It had its throat slit so you can eat something that's gonna heighten your risk of cancer anyway. Why the fuck are you still gonna eat it? But that doesn't help.
It doesn't. I was listening to Earthling Ed's podcast. I think it's called Earthling Ed Experience or Disclosure, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, and
Learning
he
a
was
lot.
talking about this and the fact that people need to hear things like 10 or 11 times before it actually sinks in and starts a thought process within their mind. So you can tell them, maybe you were the first person to tell them that so it doesn't register. But then one day maybe you're going to tell them that 10th, 11th time, and then finally it's going to register. So you were probably at that stage, on that last moment when you did become vegan, like you'd had all this information 10, 11 times, it was kind of starting to flow
so
around.
true.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're right. When we're talking about the subconscious and stuff, like, I know that I must have had something going on in my head.
Yeah.
I just didn't recognize it. It could have even been that moment where I waved that sausage and felt like a dickhead, like, or there were just all these moments building up in my head, and all of a sudden I was just like, I convinced myself that I was doing it for health.
Yeah.
I was just ready. You're right. Yeah. And I know that, again, with teaching, we learn that if we want to teach kids like sight words, or if we want to teach kids anything, they need hard repetition until that sinks in, right? Sometimes up to 40 times.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, no one just like clicks like that. Even though a lot of people say, yeah, I went cold tofu vegan, my favourite saying. Gotta go cold tofu. You can't be cold tofu if you're vegan.
No,
You can't be cold turkey, sorry, if you're vegan.
that word
It has
offends
to
me.
be,
Please
exactly.
don't say that in my house.
Yeah. That's probably why you guys are really big into activism, because Australians get offended quite easily as well.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for anything to offend us.
Yeah. So
Don't
what kind
fucking
of...
twirl your hair like that?
It's going to get on your couch, which is also your sweater.
Yeah.
So what kind of activism do you do?
Two main kinds. I love social media activism. It is, I think about it a lot, and man, it's I want to say it's hard. It's so easy. Social media activism, it's so easy, but it is addictive, and there's a lot to battle with in it if you want to be a somewhat conscious social media user while also using social media for activism. It's never easy. I know that people like James struggle with it still. It's never ever going to be easy to deal with that whole social media thing, but it is so worth it, because I know that I'm out on the streets. That's my second favorite kind. And because I know that it's just so tangible, like you feel it. People are going vegan and they give you a hug. They're like, thank you so much for sharing this information with me. And you just feel good, like you see it right there. And on a good day, you might help 5 people go vegan that you are sure, like 100% sure they're going vegan. And that is incredible. Like, you've just times your own personal effect by 5. Instead of saving 300 animals, now you're responsible for 1,500 animals per year.
And then that's going to
Not
go
being
onwards from there as well.
Totally. But, dude, on social media, I know that I can spend 6 hours on the streets and help 5 people go vegan, but I've spent 30 minutes in content that's reached 200,000 people. And you're just like, how long is it going to take me to speak to 200,000 people on the streets? It's so much more effective, social media.
The outreach is incredible. And I think that's one of the main reasons that veganism is growing so much is through social media as well, because you can literally post anything. And it's easy to be a keyboard warrior. You know, I mean, you don't necessarily need to be out there talking to people and have that instant reply. You know, you're a bit protected. You can kind of think about your comment and do a bit of research, get the information that you need through it. And even like you say, the videos and the content, there's all forms of activism you can do. My favourite are memes.
It is the most underappreciated kind of activism, and I'll stand by that statement for the rest of my life. Humour is how we're going to turn the world vegan.
Yeah. I realised that with the podcast, because I was posting a lot of clips and no one really cares.
No one cares.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to watch us two talk about our lives? Well, it's not even our lives, about the
No.
planet and veganism.
Yeah.
But you put a meme and it's quite funny.
Yes.
That gets so much more
them.
exposure than any of the videos.
100%.
Like, even on Instagram, just when it comes to likes, the memes get like 3 times as many likes as any of the videos that I put blood, sweat and tears into.
100%. I can confirm that with real numbers, man. Like, pictures of myself, I know that I can post a picture of myself and absolute max maybe get 800 likes. Or I can post a meme, get up to like 5,000.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no comparing. I can post a video of, pigs on a slaughterhouse truck. Maybe it's all going to be vegan activists who are going to like it. Maybe 500. Everyone else is going to, yuck, I don't want to see that. Memes, everyone loves it. And non-vegans, they read memes before knowing it's a vegan meme.
Yeah,
That's the
of
cool
course.
thing.
Oh, there's a meme.
Yeah. Ooh,
Oh, that's about me.
yeah. And like they agree with the points before, like without even realizing they've changed their mind.
Yeah.
That's what's so special about
But even
comedy.
if it's attacking you, if it's funny, it's funny. Like, if you can take a joke, you're going to find it
Oh, I
funny
am a
regardless.
dickhead. Yeah, that's yeah. Exactly.
Regardless. Like, everyone likes a good meme.
Yep.
For me, I don't care if it's anti-vegan, if it's whatever. As long
Yeah.
as it's funny, I'm going to laugh.
100%.
And I think, like, humour and comedy is, like, one of the best ways to reach out. And then that's why I like the videos that you've done. And that actually,
Thank
the way
you,
I
man.
discovered you through Instagram,
Yeah.
and I'll put links to, was like when you're in the supermarket and you're saying like, oh, this is like lying about milk. And I think it's really funny and it's entertaining and
Yeah,
anyone will find
thanks,
that funny.
man.
So
Well,
keep it up.
that's the thing. I mean, I can't even remember that first video we created. But Matt and I, the 33 Degree Vegan, we just had this idea, just like, we just got to put funny videos out there. Like, there's no one really doing that for vegans.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
all very morbid and black and dark,
Isn't
and
it?
yeah.
And I personally, if I'm scrolling through social media and I want some dead brain time, I don't want to read a whole post.
No.
I don't want to look at some graphic footage that I've seen before and it upsets me and puts me in a worse mood. I just want to watch something that's going to make me laugh and something that's easy to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the songs. Like, there's a few like rap songs that came out, like using all the vegan words.
Yes.
There's some really good ones. What's his name? The guy with the whole like the cucumba thing. The
Cucumber.
Caribbean guy. I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, that was good.
I love that video. I have to
Yeah.
put a link to that as well.
And
Amazing
it's
stuff.
still untapped, man. I mean, Matt and I have made a couple of videos, but there's no one doing it. Some people
Yeah.
make an odd video here and there. I'm an example of that. No one's doing it consistently, and if somebody does, that's gonna blow up. Takes a little bit of time, but
Yeah, okay, so
worth
all
it.
you vegans listening, if you're funnier than us, make a video, post it onto YouTube, tag us in it. I'd love to see it.
I will share the hell out of it.
Yeah.
If you make vegan memes are great, but vegan videos,
And we're going to share 2 tips with you as well that we were talking about before this. Add subtitles was the first one.
Yep.
And make sure you get good audio quality,
Yes.
which I hope we're getting right now, because otherwise that's going to lose all credibility. To
Yes. Indeed. Lower the lows.
Get good audio quality.
You're so good at it, man. I don't want to embarrass myself again. Good audio quality.
Probably got like some echo or some fan going on in the background that's going to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So-
And
Go for it.
subtitles. You were saying that you don't even have to do it yourself because it's a bit of a pain. You can pay people to do it, right?
Yeah,
That's
literally like $1 a
genius.
minute.
Ugh,
Yeah.
so easy.
Yeah. Rev.com, there's another one called Subtitles.
Subtitles.
Subtitles with a Z. I haven't tried that one yet, but it was recommended to me. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. Anyone putting out video content, I would recommend Subtitles.
It honestly, like, the difference is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And just even think about yourself when I'm like watching a video, maybe I'm in public and I don't really want people to hear my phone out loud. You just scroll and let it autoplay and the subtitles come up. You're like, yes, you get to watch
Yeah.
the video. And if it doesn't have subtitles, I'm not going to make it loud and embarrass myself in public. I'm just going to scroll past
Well,
it.
especially if it's vegan related, you're just going to get a lot of hate for that anyway.
That's
You're going to
so
get
true.
punched in the metro or something.
Yeah.
so- or train or subway, whatever you call it.
Yeah, no, I like all those words.
Yeah.
Makes me feel cultured having you in my house.
Do you want me just to sit in the corner forever and just talk British to you?
Oh, love that. Just translate everything I say.
Yeah. I can be your Siri voice if you want.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Hello. Welcome to the Plant Code Podcast. I'm Mix. I'm going to be your host today.
Whoa. That was good.
That was quite not bad. That's more Kiwi, I think, actually.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You sounded like Recovering Carnist. Great account.
He is amazing.
Oh, dude, he's so good.
Yeah.
He's just blown up recently, too. Like, he's been doing good stuff for a while. I'm so happy he's getting recognition
Yeah.
for it.
Any other activists you want to shout out to that we can tag down below for people to follow?
There's always the ones that everybody knows, that James Aspin, Earthling Ed, and Joey. You need to follow all those people. Recovering Carnist is amazing. Hudson Tarlow is another one. He's blown up recently.
Yeah, he's only 17 as well.
I know, right?
I met him at the Anonymous for the Voiceless
Did
in
ya?
New York. Yeah, he was doing
I'd love
videos
to
with
meet him.
Ryuji.
Wow, yeah.
Peace by Vegan.
Yes. Oh, dude, he's just such a genuine guy.
Yeah.
He used to hit me up when I was like maybe at 1,000 followers, and he was at just maybe like 200, and he was doing outreach conversations, and he'd ask for feedback, and I know he did that with a few people, just like not for recognition. He just genuinely wanted to improve, to be a better voice for the animals. He's just such a good dude. He's 17.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I was at 20 doing that dick thing with the sausage. He's gonna be, imagine him when he's 24.
Oh man, he's gonna be. I mean, he's a great activist now. So I mean, where can it go from there?
Oh, dude, speaking of funny though, best account. on Instagram at where is my B12. I only found out recently. It's actually one of my friends that makes those memes.
No way.
I didn't even know.
I'm going to steal his memes.
Oh, it's actually a girl.
Oh,
Sexist.
yeah.
Jesus.
I've done that so many times recently. This is such a recurrent film. I'm going to cut that out.
Yeah, dude, she makes the best memes. Like, how do you think of that? It's so funny. That's the best account you can follow. Where is my B12?
I'm going to follow that. I think I do, actually.
Yeah?
I must have stolen their memes.
Yeah.
Even though most of the memes that I post are my own creations.
Oh, lovely.
I do like to steal others to post into my stories.
You need
It's like the Daily News.
I see what you
Yeah.
did. Yeah, very nice. I mean, you need to. When it gets exposure, if you credit the person, you don't need to feel guilty for sharing.
But that's
your own
one thing I
memes.
don't really like about Instagram, though, is that when you share someone's story, or you share someone's post to your story, they're not really notified. You have to then tag
Actually
them back
tag
in
them.
it. I don't know if because people would get too many notifications. Well, I wouldn't, because I've got only 2 people share mine. I'd be really happy.
Yeah. I wish I got notified for all of them.
All 6 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, and then you feel like an attention seeker when you're like, hey, I make sure you see that I shared your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's a bit weird. But I want to give credit to those people, to show that I do appreciate their work.
Yes.
So, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I don't really like social media, which is funny because everything I do goes through social media. I love the podcast.
Yeah.
I love the conversations. I like the long content.
Yeah.
Get into the deep conversations about things. But today, everything is gauged on your following on Instagram or Facebook.
It's terrible.
Whereas it's completely irrelevant to the quality of the content that you're posting.
Yeah. It's absolutely shocking, man. I've had such a struggle with this because I just find myself you need to play the game, is what I call it on Instagram, if you want to do well. You got to up engagement by doing simple things like posting at good times, replying to comments. You need to post consistently, just all those things that everybody knows. You need to play the game, and that means you need to be on social media a bit. Not a lot, but you need to be on it a little bit. And when you're on it, and you're not actually setting intentions for when you go onto your phone and you're just doing things, you get used to that screen dependence of picking up your phone and staying on Instagram and then hopping over to Facebook. Oh, it's been 5 minutes since I've been on Instagram. Let me see what's happening there. You get in this deadly cycle. And eventually I find myself really wanting to play the game so bad because I want to get the message in front of the most eyes possible. I want, when I make a meaningful post, the most amount of people to possibly see it. And then I find myself getting stressed if there aren't a lot of likes or if it doesn't get shared a lot. And I'm like, that's not the purpose. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
It's hard to find that balance between... I'm not making social media sound great. It's the best thing in the world. But this is just something that I've struggled with personally myself is I just question, are my intentions right here? Am I doing this for my own ego? I feel so good when I get a lot of likes. I don't want that to be the reason I post. I want to help animals.
And there's a lot of criticism towards activists for using social media as self-glorification or to...
Which happens.
Yeah, it happens. But then ultimately, if I wanted to get famous, get followers, if that was my only aim was fame, I wouldn't be talking about animals. I wouldn't be talking about veganism. I'd talk about cars and whatever, something that
tech reviews,
football,
pranks. Yeah.
how to do this, entrepreneur, business, all that kind of stuff.
Totally.
So, yeah, the intentions are still there, but you're still trying to use the platforms that are available in the best way possible.
Exactly.
So, I think as long as people are trying to be active and in any form of activism that they're doing, then it's worth it. Okay, if their face is there, so what? You know what I mean?
100%. And dude, there's nothing wrong with having a big following. This is what, we've had to come to terms with the fact that it is okay having these numbers. I feel guilty sometimes when not I have a massive following like James or, in the millions or anything. I have about 5,000, but still, I just have so much guilt about that number because I just feel like it's an ego thing. But then you just need to realize, it's okay. This is the purpose. We're trying to get it in front of people's eyes, and everything we do is going to have some form of ego involved.
And people get a lot of shit for being, full-time activists, of trying to make a living through activism.
Yeah.
People say you shouldn't do that because you're profiting from animals on the back of that. But then if you're giving your life to making the world a better place and fighting against animal exploitation, I see no harm in someone making a living from that. You got people that are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year destroying our planet,
Exactly.
or playing football, or
Yes.
singing songs, which I'm okay with. I value those forms of entertainment, but then why can't someone make a decent living being an activist?
You're exactly right. And I should have talked about James so much in this podcast, but I know
Are you a little bit in love?
that
Or?
I love him so much. I've always loved him, and I got to meet him, and he's just like a better person than he seems on social media.
Really?
He's just the best person, dude. Like, he is just so genuine. Like, he's so in it for the animals.
Where did you meet him?
I got to meet him at New Kind initially, which is a festival, and then when he comes to Sydney, I'm so fucking lucky that I get to just hang out with him, like, because he's just such a cool guy.
Is he here now?
No, he's not in Sydney now. He and Carly are, I don't even know where they are. They're travelling around a little bit, but they should be back later in the year. So keen to see them because they're just like, just got good tips about helping animals, and it's just good to see someone who's just like, you just get so motivated by seeing someone who's so driven to just help all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he is definitely one of the ones that helped me move into veganism and then into activism especially.
Yeah.
Because what I like about James Aspey is that he's not the typical vegan as well.
No, he's cool.
Quite butch, quite strong, you know, full of tattoos, and the way he talks as well, like full on surfer.
Yep.
And I like the way he delivers his talks as well. He's so genuine. And I think you have to be if you're into activism and you're doing that on a day-to-day basis. Like, you can't really make anything up because you're exposed all the time anyway. Like, you can't say one thing one day and then say another thing another day. You know, you really have to be true to your core. And I think he does that amazingly.
100%. He's a really good example of playing the game. Like, he gets on there, he makes his consistent posts. He increases engagement by just genuine, like, replying to comments and communicating with people. And he does it really well. Like, you see his numbers, how many people he reaches with social media.
Did you see him on Paul Logan's podcast?
Yes.
The Paul Logan Experience, isn't it? He was amazing.
How good is he?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I couldn't believe it.
Because they didn't make it easy for him.
No.
I mean, there was one of the guys who was vegan and the two obviously
He
weren't.
didn't even make it easy for him.
No, of course not. But the way he stayed like so calm and he answered every question, it's like, veganism is winning. If you put that guy in front of that audience, it's insane.
And that's another really good point. I'm not gonna drop names here, but watching a few outreach conversations recently with people not keeping their cool and just dissing on big, anti-vegan people in their videos, and just, like, just personal attacks, calling them stupid and, like, just calling me whatever you want to call them, is so not cool. If anybody watches that objectively, if I watched that objectively and I didn't know whether, veganism or the carnivore diet or keto or whatever was a good idea, I'd be looking at the person who eats meat and is keeping their cool and be like, he's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got good points because he doesn't need to get emotional.
We do always say it's more how you say it than what you say.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
If we just got to stay cool the whole time, never ever lose our cool. I've lost my cool a few times and it's never helped. Every single time I've been like, that would have been a lot better if I kept my cool. Never
It's
helps.
not easy though when you're doing street activism.
It is not easy.
Yeah. I find activism quite easy because you don't have to convince anyone to go vegan. You just have to remind them.
You're so right. That was a really nice way to word that.
Thank you. I stole that from someone. I don't know who I stole that from actually. But anyway, whoever it is, I'm sorry.
Really sorry for not tagging you.
And thank you. I'm cutting the part out where I apologised and I'm just keeping it in there as if I made it up. So, like, take us through a street activist conversation. Like, someone rocks up, they see the footage that you're showing, you approach them with the, have you seen this kind of footage before?
Oh.
And then you and then you
Save
get
it for
into
9
it.
o'clock.
Yeah.
It's
different footage.
Yeah. That is how I approach it, and that's a really hard question to answer. I've been asked it a few times because every single conversation is just so different. There are some people who just give you nothing. I'm just like, you kind of, if you don't feel like you're going to vibe with that person, they're not ready for it, I don't push it too hard.
Yeah. You're not trying to make 100% of people go 100% vegan on the spot.
Exactly. I think it's important that we let people leave with a good taste in their mouth about vegans. Like, I have spoken to countless young dudes, my favourite people to speak to, because the best thing you can do is just get on their level. Like, have a joke with them, talk about drugs, talk about surfing, talk about skating, whatever it takes, and be genuine. Don't be fake. Yeah, dude, nice one, brother.
Yeah.
But, like, be genuine with them. Get on their level, get a bit silly. They love it. I've had so many people, after, like, get your mates in it as well, like, cool vegan mates, just leave and be like, I've never met vegans like you. We're like, you ever met a vegan? They're like, oh, actually, no. You're like, yeah, all vegans are real cool. Like, you don't really meet vegans.
Bit of
that aren't
vegan
cool.
propaganda, we love it.
Yeah, exactly. But
So you're kind of profiling them, like trying to gauge where you can, the entry point is for the conversation.
100%.
All right. So you go the mentalist on them.
I do, yeah. A lot of research goes into it.
Yeah.
No, it's just being genuine with people and just having fun with them. And yeah, the most important thing is just like make sure they see that we're humans and we're cool people. We're not here to judge them. I mean, we've all been in their position, and we just need to try and empathize with where they are and just try and help them along their journey. And that doesn't mean baby steps. Don't let them stop at having a soy milk once a week. But we just want to get that idea that the mainstream is trying to create, that vegans are these horrible people who are taking down farmers and they spill red paint on passerbys in their protests. Like,
Yeah. There was a lot about that, was it last year when Dominion came out? And there was that big protest in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And they kind of shut down the city centre. So there was a lot of backlash, like, oh, these vegan terrorists and for closing down the city. But that got a lot of exposure for the documentary. And I think 200,000 people watched it that same day. So they say there's no such thing as bad publicity. But how effective is that kind of activism at the same time, in your opinion?
I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Things like Peter Singer, effective altruism, like how can we do the most good with the least amount of effort? And to be honest, probably was one of the best ways to do it. I mean, that kind of protest has played a really important role in all social justice movements ever. Every single one. I mean, and the problem is that in the moment, like Rosa Parks, she wasn't glorified when she refused to give her seat up to a white man. Like, people are like, you're making black people look bad. You're making us look bad. Black people were hating on her. White people were hating on her. But it's only in retrospect that we look at these people and we look at what they did and we realize what an impact they had. And I think that's going to be one of those moments that veganism seemed to take a big hit, and a lot of people were saying that it wasn't good for the movement. But we need to realize how many eyes got to that documentary, how like the awareness that was increased, and it shows people how serious we are.
Yeah. I mean, that's always the debate, isn't it? I mean, what I love is one of the things that Greta Thunberg said at one of the conferences about environment. She's like, I don't want your understanding or your apologies. I want you to act like your house is on fire, because your house is literally on fire. Like, don't take measured movements, like do something dramatic.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I really do put the environmental and the animal rights together, because they're both important, and we need the two movements to come together.
They're both crucial, like, need to act immediately.
And it's all in all, it's about our planet as well. Don't agree on everything on both sides. I come at it more from an animal rights perspective, but I want both movements to come together, obviously. So I do agree with what happened in Melbourne, because we do need to start taking action and becoming activists.
Totally.
So how can you encourage people to become activists instead of just being bystanders?
Yeah, I think first of all we need to realize the impact that we have, because first of all a lot of us don't feel the impact that we have. It's not tangible. We don't feel and see those animals that we save. But by being vegan, you save like 300 animals a year. Minimum. It can be up to 1 animal a day. And if it's someone like me, I probably save like 600 animals a year now because of how much meat I ate. That's how many animals are spared. But when you help one other person go vegan, you literally double your impact. Now, because of you, 600 animals a year are saved. I go out every single Saturday to the Cube and I help at least 3-4 people go vegan. So that means I'm tripling my impact, like my personal impact, every single day.
Yeah.
I've never even tried to do the maths. I mean, say if I helped 3 people go vegan a year, I did it for 50 weeks. 150 times 300. I'm not very good at maths. What does that equal? But 1.5.
450.
Yep, 450 plus like 2 more zeros, right? So like 45,000 animals. Is that right?
A lot.
Yeah. Anyway, big number. The big number of animals that get saved every single year because of me. And it sounds cocky, but like I need to own that, because I need to like feel how good that is. Like 45,000, if that is even the number, animals every single year that are spared because I'm out there helping people change. If I was to sit here and be a picnic vegan and just upload maybe like a selfie of my vegan food and upload a few vegan dishes at some nice vegan restaurants, I'm probably not going to turn anybody vegan. You might turn one person vegan in 3 years by being a great role model on what veganism is, but that's not how we're going to change the world. And your personal impact stays at 300 animals a year that you're saving, which is fucking cool. Like, that's amazing.
That's huge. Imagine putting 300 animals in this room.
Oh, dude, massive.
That'd be so much fun.
And how crazy is that you can double it just by helping one person? I think when people make that connection, like, what an impact you can actually have, and just think about it. It doesn't need to be tangible. When you really think about what an impact you have, then there's just no doubt in my mind. It's
and
like,
then you
I
get
have to be out
that gratification that we were talking about earlier, and it encourages you to keep on doing it.
Totally.
And that's what we need, to keep on doing it.
100%.
Because a lot of people get the burnout as well through activism.
Yeah.
Because there's no like 9 to 5 when it comes to activism. You can't.
Yeah.
It's literally like full time on top of full time.
It's
constantly on your mind.
Oh, dude. You I remember James. I'm so sorry for talking about you so much. I just really like you. He said once, it was like, how many people here don't feel like they're doing enough? And every single person put their hand up. And he's like, that's a problem. Like, we all have so much guilt. And I don't anymore when I don't, because I've really tried to deal with that we just need to feel so positive about what we're doing. If you are constantly feeling guilty because you're like, I only went to 1 cube this week, I could have gone to 2, I went and got a burrito at lunch, that's an extra hour where I could have been outreaching.
Yeah.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Just be like, positive reinforcement for yourself. Just like, fuck yeah, I'm killing it. I'm doing so much good for the animals.
I felt that so much when I was in New York at the Cube of Truth, because I was the week-long one. But I was only there for 4 days because I could only make it for 4 days. But like, I should be there for the 7 days.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
And then I flew there from Dubai to New York. Obviously, we can debate about the environmental aspect of that and go into a whole debate. But I was going to a wedding anyway, so technically, whatever. I'm not going to get into that.
As far as practicable,
yeah.
you got to.
I was already in the US, so I went. And so I did my 4 days. Like, it's not enough. And then, you know, it was supposed to be 4-hour shifts per day divided into like 3 different shifts. So I'm only there 4 days, so I'm going to do like 8 hours a day. So I was there 8 hours and I'm like, I should be there for the 12. You know, I'm like, you know, you just keep pushing it. And I was in the Cube. I was like, I should be doing outreach, you know, like, and then you're doing outreach, like, I need to get in the Cube. You know, like, you just like,
exactly.
You don't know where to stand with it. You're just all over the place.
Walk away, idiot, dumb Max.
Or like, you just had like 1 sip of water and then someone walks by and like, that person could be vegan.
It's all my fault.
It's so infuriating.
Yeah, we're so hard on ourselves, eh?
And like 3 people fainted at the Cube.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because it was so hot in New York.
Wow.
And I think that is part of this problem as well. It's like, we want to do so much. We want to go above and beyond that you put your own physical health as well in jeopardy.
Totally.
And mental.
And that's a big thing. Like, being healthy as a vegan is so important. Not dissing on people who like to eat vegan ice cream. That's cool. So do I. But we need to show that veganism is a cool, healthy, vibrant thing to do. I like showing that with more energy. I mean, I'm a very like bouncy person already, but I've got so much more energy now that I'm vegan.
Yeah, I told you to sit still so you didn't make too many odd noises
Definitely
for the microphone.
Yeah, but like, we just gotta like show that we've got to be living examples of what veganism is. And if we are pushing ourselves to extreme limits and we start looking shit, we start feeling shit, we're not doing justice for the animals, because you're going to have an outreach conversation and I'm going to be looking at you in the eyes and I'm like, thank fuck I'm not vegan because you look like shit.
Yeah, and I think that's good about the normalization of activism. You've got people that look normal in a sense, that fit in the norms of society, that are doing it as well.
Yes.
As much as I love the like shaved on the head, full tattoo faces and like ear piercings everywhere. Like, I have a lot of friends that look like that and I love them for that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't find that relatable. And they're like, these people are from a different planet than I am.
That's so true, man.
So on a serious note, where do you see the future of veganism?
The world will be vegan so soon. I don't know what so soon means, but man, the world is changing so quickly. Like, dairy in the US lost $1 billion. Billion. Like,
That is a lot of zeros.
that's so much money. That's going to be the first industry to die out. And that's going to be real soon, because it's just so easy. And I can tell you, nobody's defending the need for dairy anymore. I watched the like speeches for the people trying to influence the 2020 nutrition guidelines, whatever you call it, you know, the healthy plate, whatever, for the US. No one there is...
the pyramid of food, they call it, or something like that,
Yeah. No one's defending dairy, except the dairy industry. Like, the only ones who are like, yes, we need the baby fluid of a 800 kilo bovine mammal. Like, no one believes that shit anymore.
It's just nature to suck on the titties of another animal.
You don't suck on titties? I mean, save that for the later episode.
Later podcast.
But yeah, no one believes it anymore, and it's just so easy. Like when there are like 15 plant milks on the market, and you got like dairy milk and plant milk, dairy milk, plant milk. It's like no one's gonna buy that anymore.
Only because it's cheaper. It is cheaper.
It is
because it's subsidized, obviously,
Yeah.
by the dairy industry. That's the only argument I can kind of understand that people have. But like, yeah, the plant-based milks. Like, I recently discovered cashew milk.
Never had it.
For making like frothy like cappuccino kind of stuff. It is amazing.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Does it taste cashewy?
No, it's really good. Like if you have one of those like frother things, what are they called? Foamers that they use for. It is amazing to make. Like
Holy shit!
Yeah.
I think you may have just changed my life, Max.
And it's so easy to make.
Really?
I would love to put a short video of me making cashew milk, but I physically cannot do it. I don't know how, but I've been told it's very easy to make. Google it yourself.
I failed every time. I found it really difficult, but I hear it's easy.
I mean, if I made really good videos, I would then have a little insert, fast forward video.
Totally.
But I don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
But I'll put a link down to a video where someone else does it.
Oh, yeah, cool. Nice.
So, yeah. What's your favourite plant-based milk?
I just like soy milk. Soy milk is good, but I'm a fiend for oat milk recently because soy is just amazing. It's just so creamy. It's creamier than dairy and it tastes great. But if I personally have sometimes I have been having more than 3 cups of a hot drink a day because I love chai, I love coffee. I can easily have 2 coffees and 2 chais in a day. That's 150 calories a cup, 600 calories of soy sitting in your belly at one time is never going to sit well. So I'm just trying to mix it up.
Yeah.
And I've gone with oat milk. And Oatly is the only good brand. Every other oat milk is pretty filthy. If you get Oatly, it's gonna blow your mind. Have you tried it?
Do they sponsor you?
If you use the code Cheesy20, they will be. No. Oh, dude, it's just so nice.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is made from oats? What?
I like their ads as well.
Yeah.
Their ads are really funny.
They actually care, don't they? They really want to help the world go vegan.
Yeah, I think it's New York actually. I saw one. It was this isn't an ad for oat milk. That was all it said.
This is an ad for oat milk.
Yeah. That's all it said.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I just thought, it's they don't have to prove anything else. There's no facts needed because everyone knows that it's better than dairy.
Totally. Like milk, but made for humans. How clever is that? I love it. It's their little slogan, right?
And they've got
Genius.
that on a huge wall in London as well. It's massive. It's
so good.
Genius.
Oh, man.
I can't wait for the dairy industry to disappear.
Yeah, so that's where we were. That'll be the first to go. And the others, I can't see. There's always going to be, because someone listening is probably thinking the world's never going to be vegan. The world is also never going to be murder-free. But it becomes socially, what's the word I'm looking for? Unacceptable. And it only happens in very rare scenarios by fucked up people. And that's gonna be meat.
Yeah.
That might be dairy. I don't know if people are still going to suck on titties. That's pretty weird. Eggs. Anyone want to eat something that comes out of a chicken's vagina butt? I don't know.
Apparently they do.
Maybe.
Because they don't really know where it comes from.
Exactly.
When the knowledge grows, I think it will start to disappear.
Yeah. Oh,
and I think it'll be more like smoking. Because in the 70s, they brought out laws in the US about putting the smoking kills, it gives you cancer on the packets slowly and gradually. And then it started to decrease.
Yeah.
In 40 years, it went from it being the most socially acceptable thing to do, normal even, if you didn't smoke you were weird.
Yeah.
So now, especially in Australia, you guys have the most ridiculous laws for everything anyway. But when it comes to smoking, it's beyond. You can't use a square that you could smoke in that's 1 meter square.
Oh, you stepped out of it.
Yeah, you get fined, $200 fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think
that's a really nice analogy. I like that. That's a really good point. Because the world will be vegan.
Yeah, I believe it. I do believe it.
Yeah, it's not even a question, dude. It's if you look at the trend, it's where the world's going. Whether you say from an economic point of view, even, it's just not sustainable. Sustainability point of view, man, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, we didn't even cover the environment at all in
Dude.
this, and that is a whole mass. It's necessary.
Oh, as you said, it's necessary for a growing population. They cannot physically feed the growing population with an animal-based diet. You just can't. So even if everyone just had to suck it up, they've got to be vegan.
Yeah.
But no, I think people will choose before it comes to that.
Well, I hope so, and especially if you've got a kid on the way as well. So that's the planet that we need to protect.
Yeah, please don't ruin my kid's planet. I mean, I really love this kid already, and don't be a dick.
Do you know what you're going to call it?
Vegan. We do have some
You're not
ideas.
going to call it James, are you?
I'm not going to drop it here, but I'm thinking Jaspy. Yeah, Earthling, Jaspy, carb strong, surname.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that would be a perfect name for a child. Well, hopefully
Thanks,
I'll
man.
come back here. We'll do another episode, and maybe we can get this little vegan baby.
Can you please use his full name when you're in this house?
You have to write it down for me. What was it? James?
Earthling?
No, Earthling, Jaspy, Carb Strong,
Yeah.
Official,
Yeah.
AV.
Yeah. Thanks, man. That's much more
Anyway, guys,
respectful.
thank you for tuning into this episode. Jake, it was awesome to have you. You can follow him once again on Instagram, the.cheesy.vegan.
Thank you. It
I'll put a
was
link.
so lovely to speak to you. I really enjoyed it.
We'll do it again sometime.
Definitely.
Guys, have a great day wherever you are in the world, and tune in next week for another episode of the Plant Code Podcast. Bye for now. Go on then. What's your joke?
Alright. Did you hear about that that guy on the news who got the whole left side of his body cut off?
No.
He's alright now. Terrible.
That is bad. That is very bad.